Now, for the latest sports headlines and some of the exciting behind-the-scenes stories on the sports front, we have Park Jae Min joining us in the studio now. Good morning, Jae Min.
Good morning. Latest sports headlines. It's Jae Min Park.
I thought you were saying ladies.
Ladies
There's
sports
only
headlines.
one lady here in the studio.
Yes.
Okay, so what did you bring for us today?
Yes, today we're going to talk about Olympic Games. I mean, the biggest sports event in the world, most recognized will be like FIFA World Cup, it could be F1 Formula, or it could be the Olympic Games. Everybody knows Olympic Games.
Right. I think
at least they heard about it.
That's a gathering or the international event that most people are waiting for, the FIFA World Cup and the Olympics.
Yes. So as we all know, Olympic Games, we have it every 4 years. One in summer, one in the winter. So Summer Olympic Games every 4 years, Winter Olympic Games every 4 years. The latest Summer Olympic Games was 2016, Rio de Janeiro.
Right.
And the latest one for the Winter Olympic Games was last year, 2018, Pyeongchang. And after 4 years, it's going to be 2020 Tokyo Olympic Games, which is next year. And we have the next Winter Olympic Games coming up in 2022 in Beijing.
Right.
So, as I mentioned before a few weeks ago, having Olympic Games in Asia for 3 consecutive times, Pyeongchang and then Tokyo and then Beijing, this never happened. The same continent. So it's gonna be whole like festival for Asia enjoying the Olympic Games. And for the Olympic Games, it's really honorable position for the athletes, representing their own country, and to participate in the Olympic Games, it's really hard. First, you have to become the athlete.
Of course.
And then you have to be really good. You have to become the national player. And then you have to qualify the minimum standards to participate for the Olympic Games. And then you have to win the final Olympic tickets for the quarter for the continents.
There's a quota for each continent.
Yes. So it's like at least 3-year process from the end of the latest Olympic Games to win one ticket to the Olympic Games. So it's really hard. So for some athletes, it's their dream to just participate in Olympic Games. Even I was. Yeah, as a snowboard racer, my dream was just participating in Olympic Games as an athlete.
So even for athletes who participated in the Olympic Games, once the games end, it's not the end there, it's another start for the next Olympic Games,
Yes,
right?
yes. It's a lifetime dream. And I brought this Olympian who is participating in Olympic Games not once, not twice, aiming for his third Olympic Games in 2020. Third.
But from what I understand, there have been cases in which Olympians took part in the games for 3 consecutive times. So what makes this particular athlete so special?
Yeah, I mean, there were some Olympians who, participated in Olympic Games for 6 times or like 7 times in history, but not like this guy. Peter Taufua, the Tongan man, is aiming to qualify for the 2020 Summer Olympic Games in Tokyo. The first reason why Mr. Peter got viral is because he gained immediate fame when he went shirtless during the Parade of Nations in the past 2 Olympic Games. So, and the most popular scene was him being shirtless, wearing no shirts, just wearing his traditional clothing, his pants, Tongan traditional pants, in Pyeongchang Olympic Games opening ceremony, which was minus 10 degrees that day. It was like 14 degrees Fahrenheit. It was freezing cold, but he was like shirtless, having the oil on his body, and just waving hands in front of the people. So Tonga, the whole population is less than 11,000. It's a small country which is right next to New Zealand. And think about it. Watching the TV, I live in Tonga, watching TV, and the guy who represents my country is waving hands, wearing the traditional clothing in front of everybody in the Olympic Games.
And I'm sure a lot of the global audience got to know about Tonga watching this surprise performance by this athlete.
Yes. I mean, so he made everybody so proud in Tonga. And back to your question, why this athlete is so special, he started Taekwondo in 5 years old, and he participated for his first time in age 33 for 2016 Olympic Games representing his country for the Taekwondo discipline. And then 2018 Pyeongchang Olympic Games, he qualified for this Winter Olympic Games in cross-country skiing with only about 3 months experience on snow.
Huh.
And now he's trying to make a second appearance in Taekwondo and is attempting to also qualify in sprint kayak, which he says he took up about 3 months ago.
Is that even possible, going back and forth the summer and winter Olympics?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it is possible. It is allowed.
But like being good at all these different disciplines.
That is the problem. It's almost impossible. So let's say Usain Bolt. He holds a record for 100-meter sprint. But he's not good at marathon. The reason is because the human muscle tissue is different. It activates in a different way. So if you have strength, you have less flexibility or something. So being good at every discipline is almost impossible. Human body is not made like that. It's not built for every discipline.
And if you have trained for years for one particular discipline, it's different to switch that into another one.
You know well. That is very true. So this is why Mr. Pita is so special. And according to his interview, the aim in 2020 is to be the first person in the modern era to compete in 3 unrelated Olympic sports and to do 2 sports in 1 Olympics and Taekwondo and kayaking.
But is that even possible? Do the IOC allow athletes to do that?
It is. It is allowed. So the IOC, the main idea of IOC is conquer the obstacles of human limitations and a challenge in every aspect. So it is allowed, but the thing is, it's almost impossible. So, and the reason why he's trying to compete in 2020 in kayaking, this interview just made me mind blown. He said, "I want to bring awareness to the oceans, to our planet, and make people see that what's happening to our planet is something that we all need to be aware of." This is the reason why he wants to compete not only in Taekwondo, but also in kayaking in 2020 Tokyo Olympic Games.
He's surely a man of many talents and passion.
Yes, he's a philosopher.
Okay, well, come back after a song break. We have Min Seo with 멋진 꿈, The Grand Dream. I'm back with Jae Min for our sports segment. So it's time for the sport of the week, I would say.
Yes.
What sport will you introduce to us today?
Okay, so every week I try to let you know what is part of Olympic Games. And this week we talked about Taekwondo and kayaking. So I wish to talk about Taekwondo because Mr. Pita was competing for Taekwondo and then competed for Pyeongchang Olympic Games. So he has a lot of relations with Korea. But today we're not going to talk about Taekwondo. We're going to talk about kayaking. So kayaking, you know what kayaking is?
Yes, I do. I know what it is, but I'm not sure how it really works.
Yeah, and a lot of people are kind of confused with kayak and canoe. So, yeah, kayaking is using the kayak, the boat, on the water. It's definitely is obvious. And it is distinguished from canoeing by the sitting position of the paddler and the number of the blades on the paddle. So kayak is a low to the water and canoe-like boat in which is the paddler sits facing forward, legs in front. Canoe is opposite.
Okay.
Canoe is facing the backwards.
So they're going backwards.
Yeah, they slide on the boat, but kayak is using the paddle, which is one paddle, one whole stick, using it sideways, and canoe is having the 2 paddles. So it's kind of different. So kayak, once again, is facing forward. Canoe is facing backwards. So that's the biggest differences between kayak and canoe. So kayaks were created thousands of years ago by the Inuit, formerly known as Eskimos. So this comes from the northern part of America. This is from the ocean, and this is from the cold part of the world. They use driftwood and sometimes the skeleton of a whale to construct the frame of the kayak, and animal skin, particularly skin from the seal. Covering the frame and making a body and try to make it float. So kayak, which is translated the hunter's boat. So this was basically for the hunters. So they sneak on the water to catch the seal or other animals on the ocean. So this is basically being very fast, very straightforward, and very quiet. So in the 1970s, the Russian explorers led by some explorer contact with the Aleutians, which is the inhabitants live in the west side of Siberia. No, not Siberia.
The Arctic?
Yeah, the Arctic, sorry. So they start to discover the kayak, and then this became the sports in 1900 by the German and the French people.
Then, from what I understand, this is a sport that takes place usually on a lake
Yes.
or a river.
Yes, yes.
But for an Olympic game, how would they compete it in the Olympics? Where would this event take place?
So the best way to compete in a kayak discipline is to find a perfect stream. Perfect stream. But in 2012 London Olympic Games, they actually built a stadium.
Oh, for kayak only?
Yes, for kayak only. They had the stadium, which is pretty much like the stream you can actually see in any valleys or any natures. Very high speed of water, very like a lot of obstacles. So, well, the best way is to find a good stream, but it is possible to make a stadium in the city for the discipline, and that actually happened in a modern era. So 2020 they're going to have another kayak in Tokyo, so I'm looking forward what type of stadium they're going to build, or what type of stream they're going to use it as the official game court.
So that would be another point that we should look for.
Yes, and kayak, if you watch it, it's really environmental friendly sports. You have nothing. You don't use the engine, you don't use the gas, you don't use nothing. It's just paddling with human power. So, if you have a good river or stream outside, try to just experience kayak. It's really fun.
And thanks to Jae Min, we will be able to distinguish between kayak and canoeing.
Yes, face forward, kayak.
Okay, well, thank you, Jae Min, for the coverage.
Thank you for having me.
And it's time to say goodbye. Before we go, a quick thank you to our listeners and staff, producer Tajun Mi, writers Yoon Sun and Yoon Se-young, and engineers Ye Jung-hwan and Lee Jong-han. I'll be back here tomorrow morning at the same time, same place. We have Alan's Heart with Pomitsanga, a song of spring taking us out today. Don't forget, today's what matters.